the good news is I'm not going to talk for the 2 hours. The good news is I'm just going to talk for about half hour or so, 40 minutes to explain to you what it is. Hopefully we're going to have some questions answered and everything. Then I have got a little exercise for you, which I'm going to ask you to do afterwards. And also what we'd like to do is actually to talk to each other to see exactly what other schools are doing and what you're doing and what you think about this and how, your feedback basically. Because the whole point of all of this, it is still, although we have been doing it in our school, but it is still new kind of thing because we have been doing this with other schools in the area, but not outside the area. Now you come in here outside the area, hopefully you may have a different inputs and you're going to develop it further, and hopefully we'll get your feedback and we'll see how you may help us into developing it even further. You can see the sign there from NACE, and NACE actually have picked it up, and to represent from NACE are here. And so they have picked it up and they're promoting it for us as well because they have seen some kind of mileage in it across other schools. And I have already done presentation last week or the week before? The week before in Swindon for about few schools attended there and everything, and few companies. And hopefully we will be able to present it to other schools. Currently the situation where it is, there are already over 30 schools taking part across the country. They cannot all attend this session. NACE have asked me to video this session, and hence that's why we're videoing it, because we need to put it on the websites for the schools who cannot attend. And that's the reason why we're doing it. So there are a lot of schools have expressed interest, they're registered, they are going to take part, but they can't make it here because they're far away. Although I'm presenting it, but please ask any questions, or if you have got any ideas or something, you can actually interrupt and you can talk, so we can talk about the whole thing. These are the kind of things I would like to talk about today. First of all, is to explain to you what is RiskIT, because people have seen it and they have heard about it from different sources, because it has been on the few different websites, NACE website, Haven websites, Kent websites, and a few other websites. So it has been, so I'm going to explain what that is in a second. And how did we do it here? So we have gone through some process, as the head just explained a second ago. We started somewhere, and we step by step it's been built up, and then it took the shape of RiskIT. And hopefully I'm going to explain to you how we went about that. And now that we have arrived at certain points, what I would not call it maturity points of RiskIT, but at least certain points, hopefully if we can share that with you, so you don't have to start from scratch. So you start from that point and you take it again forward. The good news is you don't have to pay anything, it's free. You take it and everything. We work together on it. And why actually you need to take part? Because the way I see it and the way other schools who have taken part saw it, and also some of the companies including NACE saw it, is actually it's a win-win situation. We have absolutely nothing to lose. It's quite obvious, the consequences, obviously the impact it has on the school. So why not try it? And what's next? That means we have done it now for a few years, for 3 years. It's still in the plan for being developed, still working on it and everything. But where are we going to take it next? What's going to happen once we have done RiskIT? What's going to happen? Now, if I just take the first point, a little bit of the background history of where we started from. I attended one of the conferences in London a few years back, and it was really brilliant. Lots of good speakers, lots of good ideas to share and everything. And there was one thing that I really wanted to know is at lunchtime we were talking with this guy who was done presentation, and I asked him, how many people in your school do what you have just told us? Guess what the answer was? He was the only one, right? And then I started thinking about it, and I said, why is he the only one? Because those ideas are very good, they're practical, they could help the school. So he came from somewhere, from some distance to come and tell us their ideas. But people that he meets every single day in his school, they don't know about it. Why is that? So we got into the discussion, I got to talk to other people and everything, and lots of reasons came out. For example, either lack of time, people don't have time to learn these things. confidence. People, they were not that confident in learning these things. Maybe not enough time allocated by the school, as in CPD time or whatever kind of time to be delivered to the rest of the staff. Lots of reasons. But the thing is, it doesn't need any of that, because all of those, what I would qualify as pretexts, as ideas, but you can overcome them quite simply. So on my way back on the train, I've been thinking, how can I promote, how can I do this, how can I do that? So, you know, sometimes my mind goes traveling without even telling me, and it comes back with some weird ideas, and I just start thinking about it. So the thing is, I said, what about if we do 1 week where we drop everything? In other words, we don't have to worry about anything, as in lesson observations, as in kids may go, you know, berserk, as in whatever, you know, and let's try new things. Let's try, just have fun, just enjoy, just let your hair down for a week and see how it goes. Why can't we do that? So I started working on this, but at the time, we had what we call innovators. We were paying some teachers within each domain, because our school works in 5 different domains. So we were paying one person from each domain to generate some kind of interest within each of those domains. And we found out that after a while, it works up to a certain extent, but after a while, the rest of the domain were relying on those individuals to do all the work for them. So it's almost like they become their technicians. If they want to put something on the VLE, they ask them to upload it for them. It's not like the other way around. It wasn't working the way we wanted it to work. So more work was being loaded off onto those individuals, and they couldn't find the time to do everything. So I said, okay, hold on, we are doing something wrong here, because that's not the idea, that's not what's supposed to happen. We did not continue with that idea. We have now some multimedia technicians, one is sitting there and one is there. And so what we have done is we said, okay, these multimedia technicians, they are not teachers, they have got full time to support the learning. So if we do 1 week where we can try new ideas and select some teachers and do that, and with their support in the classroom to hold their hand, not to worry about the technology is going to fail or not, then all the teacher had to worry about during that particular lesson is to deliver the lesson, but in a different way. And that's point started being built. We started building on that basis, that principle. Then it came to the point where, hello. Hello. Would you like some coffee or tea? Help yourselves. I know you spent lots of time on the motorway or something, so help yourself coffee. So we started from this idea, and then we ended up with actually a week where I approached, although I've been advertising it to the whole staff and everything, the moment in the first week or the first period, not many takers were there, so people were scared. They didn't know. To be fair, I didn't know exactly what I was letting myself into, but I was still pushing it because I had the idea in my mind, but I need to make sure that's happened before people start seeing it physically happening, before they start taking part. So what I started doing is I approached particular individuals that I know they can actually take it forward. Those individuals, I said, yes, okay, so I put them into a timetable and we started working with them. We practiced that, and we gave them basically some ideas how to do certain things, and we did it, and it works. The following year, we built on that idea. We built on the successes of that idea. Obviously, not everything works properly the first year, you know, because when you start something new, nothing works. But the second year, I said, what went wrong? So we took all those things, the ideas that went wrong, and we built on them. And the second year, it was much successful. It was really good. Then what I have done, I started doing things like, I'm just going to go show you, for example, the timetable. For the second year, what I have done is I tried to be a little bit more organized, so I started putting a timetable together for people and what lesson they're going to do, what lesson they're doing innovations in, and what technology they might use and everything. I took that quickly from there, and what I've also done, I added another bit where I had the things in red When I have an ELT or SMT, that means the leadership team to be observing, not observing in the way that's observing, but actually going, visiting that lesson and encouraging it. Because one thing that's actually I found out, and that is, if I give you an analogy, what I'm trying to say here is, if somebody screams in the middle of the forest and nobody hears that person scream in the forest, that person may be just wasting their time. But if they scream in the middle of the high street, everybody look at this person, rightly or wrongly, but something is happening, there is an event happening. And that's the idea. So what's happening is, if these people are taking part, they're going taking the trouble in taking part, they're thinking about what they're gonna do, and they're thinking about the lesson and the kids and everything, so they just might appreciate somebody coming to visit their lesson and to say, yes, great, that really went well. I'm going to talk about that, the visit in a minute, with the visit for the leadership team. Because if I just go back a little bit here, and yeah, there you go, just a little bit here, and show you that these are the kind of things you have to consider, for example, when you're trying to do a RiskIT week. The first thing is, I put this SMT, but actually, generally speaking, is the whole leadership team. We have, in our leadership team, we have the ELT, the extended leadership team, and we have the SLT, the senior leadership team. They all come under the leadership team, and there are about 14, 15, give and take. And they all, when we have done it, they were all allocated the lesson, just they need to go and visit. They have to go and visit that lesson. And the reason why they have to go and visit that lesson, because if they don't go and visit the lesson, the teacher feels that they have gone through a whole lot of trouble, but nobody recognizing their efforts. There's no recognition there. And teachers, as you know, just like kids, they have to be, they need to be, they want to be recognized and appreciated for all the effort they go through. And that is the reason why the leadership team, now I can say it in front of them here before I get the sack. The leadership team can make or break the RiskIT, full stop. The first thing you have to do, really the first thing you have to do, is to sit with them and explain to them what you're going to try to do, and go through the whole things, and you need to get them on board. Because if you don't get them on board, don't even bother trying. Because the teachers are gonna do all of that work, and believe me, there is something work behind the scenes and everything, and if there is nobody coming there to see exactly what they're doing and everything, then their efforts are gone wasted. And that is the first point of contact that you need to do. The second thing is the planning, and in the time. And the time, for example, and the planning has to be done ahead of time. And this is the reason why we're doing this session now. And I was talking to Nace and everything why we decided to do this session now, because the actual RiskIT week is in October, between October the 8th and the 19th. Well, according to the Nace website, it's between the 6th, which is Saturday. So some schools may work Saturday, but we're not. Between the 8th and the 19th. And if you are going to take part at RiskIT in October, you have to start planning now. Already, our school, we are planning the whole calendar for the year, and that is actually there in the calendar as one of the blocks that needs to happen. So everybody will know about that. It is there, and everybody will be aware of it. So it's planning, it's ahead time planning, because then you will, once you plan it, you have time to advertise, you have time to talk to people, you have time to approach them, and you have also time to generate some interest in a different way, maybe by approaching individuals or by emails or by talking through meetings, assemblies, whatever. But you have to do that. The technicians there, and as I just talked about before, like we have our technicians there, they need to be also, they need to know what's happening. They need to be timetable to the sessions, because when you start putting a timetable of staff who are going to take part, they might say, I need a technician for that lesson because I don't know how to use certain things. Then the name of the technician needs to go on that time. If another person asks for the same technician, then you have to make a judgment, either have a different person or you can be there or whatever, but you need to plan that ahead of time. The equipment and software, Well, surely the whole point of RiskIT and the whole point what I came up with, actually, the other thing that was bugging me when I started doing these projects is I was walking around school, and as you know, our school started from the old school to the new school. In the old school, before we came here, I was visiting certain classrooms, and I opened the cupboard, and I used to find certain electronic items, either a projector or a visualizer or something sitting in the cupboard gathering dust. So that's one of the reasons why I said no, this can't continue. This just doesn't make any sense. So the whole point for equipment and software there is you don't have to buy anything. Use the stuff you have already. Just go and ask them, and believe me, between the whole school that you have, between all departments, all teachers, you will find some equipment. So go and collect them. If somebody doesn't use it, even if it was bought by their own departmental budget, I take it away from them. And that is the school resource. It is there. The technology is going to die any minute now because it changes all the time. So it's no point keeping hold of it and just hogging it like that. Give it to somebody else to use. So I take it away and I give it to somebody else to use that. They might not like it, but the point is, you know, they have to use it if they need to keep it. The training, so you may provide some training for some people. And the whole point talking about the training is that the training is on the job, is actually in the classroom, but you may follow it by somebody said, oh, I really like this, I really would like to do it again with different classes. And well, now that you know how it works, why don't we set up some time aside to teach you how to do that? That training is much more beneficial and much more targeted towards particular individual and their need, rather than just when you go somewhere else to be trained and you come to the classroom to face the reality. And there's nothing actually there because it's completely different. The primary school conduct, I just talk about that. Now, during the process, that means during the week or just a week just before that. By the way, this presentation I'm going to post on the website anyway, so you will see it exactly as it is on riskitweek.com. So it will be there from today. During the process, what I do is I do all of that. I keep reminding them via email. I remind the leadership via email. I tell them every single morning. I just copy the people who are doing it today, and I send them an email. Remember, you actually not observing. I'm gonna come to the words. I don't like using the observing word, but you know, just looking at or visiting, if you can call it, visiting certain people in different classrooms. So I keep reminding them. The opinion sheets, I'm just going to move out of there. I'm going to come back to the opinion sheet and show you exactly what I'm talking about. The opinion sheet is...
From the Word document.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I thought I put one here. Right, I'm going to come back. No, there it is.
Okay.
There it is. The opinion sheets, I call this opinion sheets because I tried very hard to distinguish between all the terminologies that you find under the observation of the lesson or anything else. Because the one thing that those teachers who are taking part, one thing they don't want is they don't want somebody to come and judge them on that lesson. To say, when they come in, they may find a lot of noise, they may find kids doing something else, whatever it is, and some leadership team come in and say to them, look, those kids, they're not behaving. Those ones, they should not be doing this. Those ones. And what does happen, you shoot their confidence right down. And everything you've been building on, it just gets wiped completely. The whole point is, if I've been explaining this to the leadership team and they understand that very, very clearly, if they go to visit a particular teacher who's doing an activity under RiskIT scheme, they are not to judge that lesson at all. They just go there. The only thing they're going to need to look at is the positive side of that lesson. Only the positive, nothing negative, right? And they're right, their opinion there. That's the reason why we used opinion. If you have different vocabulary or different, fine, use that. But the point I come with is opinion sheets. Now I put opinion sheets for the same students or staff. Students also need to fill one in. Not all of them, just like 2 or 3 students, so that the teacher can get their bearing to see whether the students have enjoyed it, whether they have learned anything, whether, you know, if they need to do something else, what can they do differently. So you get a feedback from students as well. And also I have a different one, which is similar one from the teacher, him or herself, the person who actually delivered that session. How did they think it went? How did they think? Did they enjoy it? Will they do it again? You know, what went right, what went wrong? You know, things like that. So what I do is I get feedback from 3 different angles, from 3 different sources. And I form that to my judgments at the end so that I can plan on it, I can actually evaluate for next year, I can plan next year, I can avoid all of those things. So that's one thing. But if I come back here, I do remind people, that means the leadership team and the people who are taking part at every opportunity. And what I found actually is if you start with 5 teachers or 3 teachers taking part, what I do is, and this is, I know this is a little bit sneaky, I put a timetable of the week, and I put so-and-so teacher period 1, so-and-so teacher period 5 on Wednesday, so-and-so teacher 2 on Thursday, and I send that list to all staff, and I said, these are the teachers who are taking part. The other teachers, when the moment they see a timetable and somebody else name there, and what they're doing with year 8 and doing something else, they said, oh, I can do the same thing, or I can do something else with my class. So they emailed me, they said to me, I would like to do this on Wednesday, whatever it is. So I start putting in. I put some names and I send this again. And believe me, it does work. The more you send them, the more, just when you think I have got the whole week, everything, somebody writes on a Friday, the last minute, they read the email and said, I thought of an idea, I want to do it next week, and they send you something. So that's how it generates interest. Before you know it, you have got lots more people actually taking part. But you have to start small, and that's bottom line there. You have to start small. Approach people individually, the people that you know they can take part, people that you actually they are already they take the risk in various other ways within the school. Tell the students, and this is quite crucial, because you don't want to go to a class from the code and having this piece of technology, not being sure about yourself, having a technician there, having somebody else coming to look at them there and everything, and not telling the students what's happening. The students need to know, because if you tell the students what's happening, you get them on board, and therefore you're winning them. They come on your side. They can be able to help you. They can help you as well, because if you tell them, oh, I don't know how to use interactive whiteboard, I don't know which button to click on, whatever it is, they can tell you, oh, miss or sir, do this, and they can show you. So they can be on board the same as anybody. It's almost like the whole family gets together, and everybody needs to enjoy, to take part in the enjoyment of ICT, because without that, you know, it's not you on your own in the corner battling it out against them. It's not one against the many. It's everybody in the same pot, basically. And encourage. You need to encourage the people who are actually taking part, and to encourage them, as I was just speaking to Jen earlier, is you encourage them, but not being patronizing. You say, oh, well done, you know, something like that. I'm sure, you know, we all know different ways of encouraging people and approaching them. I usually make jokes and insult them, and they like it, because if I don't insult them, they wouldn't. I'm not the same. So
yeah, I must add in there that in your school you will know somebody like Ben that can do it with a smile on his face, and people will do it because Ben asked, not because one of the leadership team asked. So I think that's important in your own school to choose the right pioneer.
For those people who came late, Jan is our deputy head, so she's there to watch me, basically, because I told her, keep, you know, I need some support there, just in case I get attacked, right? So, okay, well, that's during the process, But afterwards, what do you do after that week or 2 weeks? Usually, although I call it RiskIT week, because if you keep calling it RiskIT 2 weeks, it doesn't sound right. If I call RiskIT already, the name is being taken by a company in the east and somewhere. So I think that's why the domain name is RiskIT week. But I think you get the gist of it. Now, the recognition, as I said, afterwards, when you finish those 2 weeks or something, is recognition. You have to recognize the efforts of these teachers who have taken part, and you can do that in different ways. As I said, you can, as simple as just doing a fun certificate to give it to them in a staff meeting, and I'm sure some people, they like it. You make it fun, don't make it too serious, because again, they might think, you know, they may be embarrassed or something. And what I have done, for example, like a video or something of all those things that they have done, and some of them have got those videos, and they can keep for posterity. And what we're doing this year, we actually printing a proper book, with their picture, with little blurb about what they have done, and a picture of their activities, which is the picture of their activities, some of the image of their activities they have done. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this book properly and give it to them for free as a souvenir to keep with them. So that's going to be one of those things. And hopefully, if I put that one book in the library and one book in a staff room and everything, so the next time when I've got to do the same thing, people can say, wow, that's great. I want to be in the book. I want to be part of the history of the school. And suddenly, I've generated more interest in a different way. So that's the other thing. I think the evaluation is mainly for me, and the evaluation is, as I said to you before, I guess students' feedback and the visitors, if you can call them visitors' feedback, and see feedback from the teachers. And I collect all of that information, I analyze it, and I see exactly what went wrong. I'm always in talking to my technicians, so they can tell me, oh, that class was, they usually tell me that class was really brilliant, the kids were really working hard, and it was amazing or something. So I guess all of that feedback, and based on that, I correct if there are any mistakes. I upgrade if there's anything to upgrade, and I do other things for the next time. So it's always on the review. It's always like a circle to improve things. Now, just go back to the RiskIT. What actually RiskIT does, and I was just talking to I haven't done that thing. See, I told you I was going to do that little line. I haven't done it. Yes. I was going to do this line slightly longer here. I haven't done it because I was actually, if I have an excuse, I haven't had time. But RiskIT, what does RiskIT do, and why is RiskIT different from other things? Well, first of all, RiskIT is just you give confidence to staff. It's about confidence. The first thing is you start from the bottom left. Wherever their starting points of teachers, some teachers in your school may already be confident, so they may already be there, which is fine. Some teachers may be somewhere in the middle, some teachers may be somewhere there. So different schools or different teachers within the school may be in different points of that. And what RiskIT does, it brings them, it's a higher confidence. If they are already very confident, then I'm going to come back to that's in a second, but they need to share. Now, once you've done it for a year or two, and the confidence has grown throughout the school, remember, I'm not talking about one teacher or two teachers in the school. RiskIT is about the whole school, because the one thing I'm trying to battle against for years, and that is having one teacher or two teachers in a school of 80 teachers, and just those teachers go to represent school in all the shows and all talks and all the seminars, and everybody else stays behind. That is about everybody counts in school. So once you raise the confidence in the school of IT, then you start tackling the impacts on the learning. Because if you jump straight to the impacts on the learning, which some schools do in a different way, if the people are not confident in using that technology, then you crash them there and then, and they revert back to paper-based because that is the only thing they know they're going to be using. You don't want them to do that. You want them to move forward. Therefore, you have to give them some confidence to tackle the impacts on the learning. Because this is where the kids sit. All the kids sit with technology. They are here somewhere in this corner because they use the technology every day. So you need to be there with them. I'm gonna, with this thing, I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm trying to talk about. Again, this is my brain working, and this is my way of trying to explain a point. This might not be that clear, but I'm going to try. The way I see it in every school, there may be 3 different sections in every school. The percentage of each section varies maybe from one class to the other. But there are those, what we call the hoarders. That means those people who have got lots of knowledge in their heads, who are quite highly technical, highly knowledgeable, and everything. But the only problem is they don't share. It's there and it stays there. And if you ask them anything, they will do it because they know how to do it. They are confident, they go ahead and do it. But the question is, is there anybody benefiting from that knowledge? And the example I gave you when I started is somebody goes to do the show or do the presentation somewhere in London or something. They're not even sharing their knowledge with the people in their school, right? So there are those what they call hoarders. There are those people who call what I would qualify as posters. And if you remember before the technology, before the days of technology, if you go off for a training day or something, you do the lesson for a cover lesson, and your cover lesson is say, oh, draw poster. Well, these days they draw posters only they do it in PowerPoint. So it's the same principle. So it's a poster people. Hopefully, that's not that many people. The people I'm talking about, the people where I'm trying to raise the thing is dynamic, and the people who make actually the difference to the school. And not necessarily to the school, they make a difference to the kids. Because that's actually where we are at the moment. Because if I just, in few bullet points there, I'm just going to explain this. Basically, if you think of it as, I don't know if anybody played games in here. Do you play games, any kind of games, whatever kind of computer games? Yeah, you do. Nobody's going to admit to it, but absolutely.
And in lessons.
And in lessons, there we are.
We have to shoot, so I should say.
Brilliant, that's really good, yes. Because all the kids play games, depends what kind of games, but the point is what they learn from the games is if they know if they get shot, if they fail, they just start again. Press the button, reset, and they start again, you know? Teachers they are not conditioned to work like that. Teachers, they're conditioned to work if they fail, that's it, you've had it. And they cannot actually easily, you need a psychotherapist to actually to make you stand up and work again. But the kids, they work just like that. And the whole point for that is, what I'm trying to do from the RiskIT is, just have fun, just enjoy the technology. There's nothing to it, it's there. I know you're here because you're confident, but hopefully while I'm talking, you may be thinking of one or two people in your school who I'm maybe talking about, and you said, okay, there's nothing to it, just try it, you know? And that's the idea that we're trying to achieve here. But all staff, this is the key thing, all staff, it's not one or two teachers. That is the distinction between RiskIT and using a different traditional methods of training, like when you go somewhere training. Because when you go somewhere training and you go for a day training somewhere, all you're developing in your school is the hoarders, is people with lots of information and they don't share. Unless you have a system in place where you share, but you're developing those hoarders. Is to be in tune with the environment. Technology, as you know, I don't need to tell you this, technology changes every so often and it's very, very rapidly changing. And if you don't actually try to keep up with this in some way within the school, because moving 70, 80 teachers, depending how many teachers are you in your school, is a massive, massive task. It's not, if you're a small school and you have like 10 teachers, 15 teachers, that's easy a task because you can actually manage to talk to those 10 teachers as any day you want. But for us here, sometimes I don't see certain teachers for almost a week. And I said, I don't even know you still work in this school because it's so big sometimes, and you know, and that's the whole point. Is to give school what they're entitled to, and that is actually the whole point of what I'm trying to achieve here. Is the students are entitled to access, to learn through access to technology. Teachers, when they're employed for the schools, they don't necessarily sign up to that because they sign up with all their history in their minds, the way they work, their methods of working, and their secure way of working, and it's very hard to shift them from where they are to where they need to be. And the point is, if you sign up to work in a school that has got this kind of dynamic in the school, then you have to follow the school's dynamic. You cannot be there. Because the point is, it's not about the technology. It's not about what kind of technology you have in school. It's not about the teacher, whether the teacher can do it or not, because the teachers are signed up to work in a school. They have to obey by the rules of the school. It is about the child. And if the child actually doesn't have access to that kind of learning, whether in school or outside school, then as teachers, we fail. And because every single kid should have equal opportunity or equal access to learning. So we know that those people who have got enough background money in at home or something, they have got their own laptop, their own iPad, their own whatever it is, they can have anything they want. They can have their own education outside school. They can have access to certain private websites or education websites outside school and everything. The majority of the kids we have, for example, in school don't have that opportunity. And are we giving them what they need? Are we actually giving them a favor, or are we failing them? So if we don't gear up ourselves, if we don't change the way we have been working for God knows how many years, we literally were failing. So we have to look fresh in ourselves and how do we do things and see actually whether we're doing this right or not. So I just want to share with you one a video for one of our students, and just listen to this.
When I first started my GCSE food course, I had to constantly keep on asking Miss Fothergill for some help because I wasn't confident enough to do it myself. But by the time it came to me actually making a pastry dish, when it came to the fake pastry bit, I chose to do sausage rolls because that was one of my family favourites. So I asked Miss Fothergill if I could watch one of the videos on how to make it because I didn't understand how to make it at the beginning. After watching the video, I grew confident enough to give it a go myself, and I eventually did make the sausage rolls for myself. By doing this, it gave me a feeling of more independence and also a feeling that I could do more things in the future independently.
That's just one sample of one of the students and what they did. And the thing is, there was another case where, because of the same teacher who did about like 15 videos of how to do certain things, there was another case where a girl came here after one day after they did these videos, and she came to show her this cake she made. And she said to her, look miss, what we've done, we did this cake, I did it with my mom after watching your video from the VLE, which we put on the VLE. You know, it's this kind of thing we're trying to reach, because then just by watching a video and connecting to the teacher, because there are millions of videos on YouTube they can watch showing them how to do that. What's the difference in those millions of videos and that one video? Because she knows the teacher, she has some kind of connectivity to that teacher, you know, and she feels proud because that means she comes back to give feedback to that particular teacher. The teacher feels proud and say, wow, look, my student is doing something I have created. Then that teacher can go and create other videos for other students. And as a result, she made about 15 videos. But that's in a very, very small, it doesn't matter what people think about what you're doing, whatever what people think about the way you're going in your school. The whole point is you choose where you are, choose how you're gonna do that, and remember the bottom line is it has to do with students, and what we want to do is with students. The RiskIT for me is still new, and I really would like people to get on board and to support, to work with it, give feedback, so we can work as teams as well. We can have like more and more ideas, we share more ideas. I have put here, it is here, the riskitweek.com, and all the videos, everything, that's the presentation, this one will go there and everything. The NACE website there, which also going to be there, this is where you need to click on to go and register your interest that you're going to take part in October events, because we would like to have more and more people. I have got a school from Cyprus and a school from somewhere else trying to take part. And, you know, again, I'm following the same principle as I just told you the beginning of the session, where somebody going to say to other people, but not the people in their school. I would like people in our areas and our, you know, in here to do it first before we start exporting it to somewhere else. But that's where we are at the moment. So thank you.